Hello and welcome to episode 28 of the Sweet Lavender Knits Podcast. My name is Christine and I'm coming to you from just outside of Toronto, Ontario in Canada. Welcome to my podcast. Today is March the 17th, 2019, and it is another Sunday afternoon, and today happens to be a little gloomy. So I was at two minds actually whether to record a podcast or not. It's been a long time since I've done my last podcast, and I wasn't really sure if I wanted to record today just because it's really poor lighting. I wasn't prepared, but here I am. So you can find me on Instagram as sweet_lavender1 and on Ravelry as sweetlavender1. We also have a lovely Ravelry group called Sweet Lavender Knits, and if you fancy, come on by, check us out. Feel free to introduce yourself in the welcome thread, and there is also a chatter thread. I think I've called it Let's Chat, so where you can just drop in and say whatever is on your mind, what you're working on or anything. It's just a place to chat, and we usually have some KALs going on. We don't have anything right now, but I have something to share with you today, so there will be a KAL as well, so that's for later. So this podcast is mainly about knitting, maybe some sewing, crocheting, and other crafts as I fancy them. I don't have a local knit night to go to, so I've invited you to mine. So why don't you grab your needles, your favorite project, something nice to drink, and let's get started. So thank you again for joining me today, and in the segment on what's going on, it's basically a little bit of chatting, and first I want to start off with saying a very big thank you. I can't thank all of you enough for all your lovely comments all throughout, and especially on my last podcast. I had made some comments in regards to some of the happenings in the knitting community, and it was well received, and a lot of you shared your thoughts on it, and agreed with the fact that we should be very inclusive, as well as that the knitting community is a wonderful place. So I really want to thank all of you for all your comments, even for your little likes, your thumbs ups, just even for those that chat in the Ravelry group. You've been a source of inspiration to me in many of your projects, and I know a lot of you have tried new to you projects like sock knitting or knitting jumpers and garments and other things, and it's really interesting, and it just makes my moment in that day a lot more exciting when I find that there is some sort of interaction between me and my viewers. I don't like to call you my viewers, I like to call you part of my knit night. So yes, I am very thankful for all your lovely comments and just everything. Thank you for your love. I really do appreciate it. Well, it's been so long since we've had a KAL, and we're heading almost, I know it's mid-March now, and I'm starting to find myself going maybe more often than not about 3 weeks or 3 to 4 weeks apart in my podcast. So it'll probably be another 3 weeks, and I have to explain why it takes me so long to do another podcast. First of all, for those of you who are new and joining us recently, I noticed a lot of new subscribers. So thank you for joining in our knit night. And just a little bit about me is that I am married with 3 kids, and I am a working mom as well, so I have quite a busy life, as in I am the first to leave home and I'm the last to get back home, and in the evenings I am pretty tired out. So my knitting time is very limited as well. I am a slow knitter, so I want to be able to have some material when I do sit down to podcast. And that's the reason sometimes my podcasts are a little longer than usual. And I find like over the last few times it's been at least 3 or 4 weeks, and I was thinking that maybe that is going to be my norm unless I do have a little more free time. So just to sort of make it my norm, and then if I do have anything to share, I will do maybe a mini episode. And I got this great idea, actually. It's not my own, I'm borrowing an idea from the Coco and Flora podcast. So yes, so what Eva does is she does a main podcast and then a mini podcast, mini episode, she calls it, in between. And I know she did that recently. I don't know how often she does that, but I think that's a great idea. So I will keep my episodes to about 3 weeks apart, and maybe 4, but I will definitely do a mini episode if I have more material to share with you, and I hope all of you are okay with that. The other thing is April is just around the corner. I don't want to rush the seasons. I like to enjoy them, but you know, I can't wait for spring. I have to say that. It's been a brutal winter. It's just been really, really cold, or either that or just fluctuating temperatures, a little crazy, and I know I'm not alone in that. It's happening almost everywhere in the world. So yes, I can't wait for spring, but it also reminded me of last year. Around April is when I started my Zweig sweater with a KAL, and so I thought let's do that again this time, and I'm gonna call it again the Let's Knit KAL, and it's just gonna be a fun KAL that's gonna go, I'm gonna say, from April 1st all the way to the end of June. So that gives you full 3 months. And the way this KAL is going to be is that I'm going to draw prices on a monthly basis. For anything that you're working on, they're going to be 2 finished objects threads. So one is going to be for, I'll try and come up with better names, but for just to explain it to you, one is going to be a smaller item like socks or hats or shawls, maybe if they're smaller, and something in the smaller items, and that will be in the smaller item finished objects thread. And I will open a large item. I will come up with better names. A large item like a garment. I'm thinking more of a garment or a large shawl maybe. Something like the rectangular wraps that are quite popular now. Something like that. I will open up a finished objects tray for a larger item in the middle of May, and so there will be a finished a price that I'll pick from the chatter thread as well as the finished objects thread for each month. And the prize I want to, for the final prizes in the KAL at the end of June, I would be putting together some yarn packages, but for the monthly prizes I will do my usual, which is a pattern giveaway from Ravelry, a pattern of your choice. And yes, so we're going to be having a Let's Knit KAL 2019, and that's going to go from April 1st to June 30th. And we'll see how that goes. So that should be fun, and it should lead us right into the next season, and hopefully we'll get to enjoy spring or fall, I think, if you're in the southern hemisphere. So that should be a good knitting season either way. Yes, so those are some of the things that I have planned and what's going on right now. So moving on to finished objects, and I am excited because this time I have two things to share with you. So first is a pair of socks, and I don't have blockers for this because it's a very unusual size where the feet are my size, and but the stitch count for it, whoops, it's pretty narrow. It's for my 10-year-old son, and so these are his socks. This is lovely yarn that I got from my Instagram friend Carla in Scotland, and it's called Arthur's Seat, and it's by Bear in Sheep's Clothing, I think it is. A lovely, lovely yarn. I love the yarn, and this contrast yarn is some that I dyed up, and I think it goes really well with these with this yarn here. So that is, and the pattern is just a simple ribbed pattern. I do like this rib pattern for socks. So I just made the stitch count 52 stitch count, and it fits him very well, and I haven't given it to him to wear yet just because I wanted to share it on the podcast, so he'll be happy that he can wear it before winter is done. I did not start off with Chinese waitress cast on like I usually do. I just did the regular cast on, and it still looks nice. So I did a 2x2 rib on the top, and then a 52 stitch leg and foot. I did my fish lips kiss heel pattern for the heels, and just a decreased toe. The needles I use for all of my socks are 2.25 millimeters. I say my needle sizes in millimeters. I don't know the US sizes, and yes, if you really want to know, you just ask me and I can find out for you. But yeah, it's easy enough to look up as well. So here you go. So that is my first finished object, and super excited. It's not been blocked yet. I've had enough time to do that, but I just didn't get around to it. First finished object. My second finished object is also a pair of socks. I'm going to call these finished, although I will share with you just in a moment as to why they're not completely finished. But here you go. This is my second finished object, and it is my socks for February. So this year, for those of you who are new, I've set out to a goal for myself as to knit a pair of socks every month, and I cast on the first of the month and try to finish it in that month. For February, because I had my son's socks going as well, I was not able to finish it in February, and I've now finished it in March. So these are my V for Valentine's socks. This is a free pattern by Ellie of Craft House Magic, and it's a lovely pattern, lovely lace pattern with a little heart and a V on the bottom, and it has a nice I think she calls it a pinstripe heel with a heel flap, heel turn, and gusset. And then I just did the decreased toe, which I noticed was a little different from the way Ellie has it in her pattern. What I usually do with my decreased toe is alternate between one round of decrease and the next round of just knitting, and I do that for 6 rows, or 6 decreases, not 6 rows, 6 decreases, and then I decrease every row until I get down to 10 stitches or 12 stitches, and then I just Kitchener the toe, and that's what I've done here. It's blowing out slightly, but there you can see. So why this is not a finished object is because I started on this socks first. Do you want to try and spot the difference? I'll tell you what it is. It's the cuff. So I started off on the sock first, and when I cast on, I hadn't decided on the pattern, and I just did a 1x1 rib. And then I decided I wanted to do these V for Valentine socks because these were February socks. And then I went ahead and knit in pattern. And even while I started the lace pattern, I knew that I didn't like the 1x1 rib. But I didn't have the heart to go back and rip it out. So I was like, it's okay, you know, I'll just keep them as 1x1 rib. And then on my second sock, I was like, no, you know what? I think I'm going to try the 2x2 rib and see which one is better. So that's what I've done. I've done both of them. And I can tell you that sometimes you just have to go with the designer's, pattern because they figured it out for you. So Ellie, if you're watching this, I should have gone with your pattern the first time. But here it is, guys. Like, doesn't the 2x2 suit better with the rest of the pattern than the 1x1? I think so. So here, what I'm gonna do is just cut off the pattern, cut off the bottom of the cuff and knit back up in 2x2. Oh, that reminds me. Okay, so the reason why I'm confident enough to tell you about this one is because that's what I did with these socks. And if you were following me on Instagram, you probably saw that post where that's what I did, is I knit the whole sock. I knit one sock. Now I can't even tell you which one is the one I've done that. Oh, it's this one, okay. So I knit the whole sock, and I had the cuff, it was just about here, and that's all I had, none of this on top. Okay, so I knit it down here, and then when my son tried it on, he said he didn't like the cuff because it was too short. And I know when he wears his socks, he always pulls it down. He pulls down the cuff, and so that's the reason I had made him a very short cuff. But he said he wanted it long, and I at that point didn't have the heart. I had finished a whole sock, one of them, and I didn't have the heart to just like rip out the whole thing and start over because I had put so much time into it. I was already late with my February socks, and so I just thought, okay, I'm just gonna put this aside and start another sock. And then it just occurred to me to just look at YouTube and see if what would others do. And I happened to find this video where I could maybe, if I find the video, I will link it down below. And I don't know if I've said this to you guys before, but anyways, what I did is I cut a stitch, unraveled it from the bottom, and then picked up the stitches and knit back up. And you can see if you look very, very close, you can see that that's where I've picked up the stitches. And now it's probably because I pointed that out to you. But otherwise, you can't even tell. You can't tell much. Yeah, like if you look very close, you can see that the stitch changes direction ever so slightly. But otherwise, from far, you can't tell the difference. So that's a great technique if you want to redo some cuffs or extend your knitting in some way. And I can see you wanting to do this even with the sweater sleeves or but yes, I will link that video down below. So going back to these socks here, that's what I'm gonna have to do, is just cut away this cuff. I'll pick up and knit the cuff back in 2x2. So there are my February socks. I'm very happy. And just, I didn't mention the yarn. The yarn is a lovely yarn from a Canadian dyer, and she is called Little Red Kettlehead. And the yarn, I forget what the base is, but the yarn colorway is Snapdragons, and so you can see the yellows and the pinks and the peaches, and it's just nice, and it's got a little bit of a striping effect going on, which I think is great. Well, those are my finished objects for this time. Very, very excited to share that with you. All right, moving on to works in progress, and I am super excited to share with you that I'm almost done with my Beaumont jumper. It's taken me a very long time to work on this jumper, but I have to say, like, I did put it away last year for all of the summer, and I just picked it up towards the end of winter, or towards the end of the year last year, and since then I've been working on it almost religiously, and it's been great. Like, it's been very gratifying. So here is the yoke, the cabled yoke, and many of you had given me such nice comments on it. Thank you very much. And you can see how much I've progressed on it. So the last time I showed you, it was just the yoke that was done, and I put in my progress keeper right here, and I've picked up stitches all the way around, and it's almost done. I'm almost at I think 17 inches. I have to go all the way from the top, so I have a little bit more to do, but it's basically a sea of stocking net. So these are 4.5 millimeter nickel plated needles from Knit Picks, the interchangeable set, and they're my oldest interchangeable set, and I like them. They're good. They do the job, and they've lasted me a very long time. And the cord actually is my cord from the Leka. I don't have a set, but I had bought some needles, interchangeable needles, as well as some cords. And even while I was shopping through them, they were in a little basket at one of the, I think it was one of the Frolic, maybe last year, I can't remember. The lady who was also looking at it at the same time, she said, "Oh, do you know that your Knit Picks cords will will work with the Leka needles?" So I was like, okay, that's good to know. But because I was buying the Leka needles for the first time, I didn't want to take a chance, and so I bought myself some Leka cords as well. And what do you know? They do work with the Knit Picks needles, and vice versa. So here they are. It's got a nice join to it, which I like, and yeah, the cords are pretty sturdy, and I have nothing more to say. It's just a sea of stocking net, but it will be done. Hopefully by the next time I'm podcasting, I will have a finished sweater, hopefully finished jumper, hopefully. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see, but there you go. So that's my first work in progress, and it's very close to being done. The second is another garment, another sweater that I'm knitting, and this one is called the Rocane Pullover by Christina Danae, and here it is. This is the pattern. Although I am not making it cropped, I'm going to make it a little longer, maybe just down to here. Because I like my sweater is just a little longer. But I love the Guernsey style pattern. It's not very clear, but it's a nice pullover. And I know Amy from Stranded Podcast has knit 2 of them. So that's where I got the inspiration from to knit this pullover, and I am working through it. So that's the pattern, and here is what I've done so far. So not a lot to show you. Again, something quite boring because it's more stocking net, but it's a color It's a very bright pink, and I'm loving it. I'm loving the color, and I can't wait to have a sweater in this color. I think it'll be really nice. This is yarn. Oh, I didn't tell you the yarn for my Beaumont jumper. It is Knit Picks Wool of the Andes, and the colorway is Sprinkle Heather. This is from Knit Picks, and this is in the Swish DK, and the colorway is called Bordeaux. Let me try and hold it up to you. There. It is 100% superwash merino wool, and there are 123 yards and 50 grams, and it is DK weight. There you go. So right now it's just a sea of stocking knit, and it is perfect for me to be sitting down, winding down at the end of the day, maybe if I'm catching a little TV, loving, what did I watch recently? I like to watch some of the British dramas, and I like Vera, the detective dramas. So Vera, I like DCI Banks, that I've watched a couple of times, but I enjoy it. So if you know of any crime dramas or detective stories, please do let me know. It is my TV watching that I prefer, and I like that. Nothing too gory or nothing too scary. I am a wuss, and I do get scared. I'm not into horror or anything that is too gory. But yes, that has been my evening knitting, and I'm enjoying it, and it's just housed in one of my project bags that I made a while ago. So that is my second work in progress, and the third work in progress is housed in another of my project bags, a zippered one this time, and I have so little to share with you on this one. So let me start off with the yarn. There's the yarn that I'm using for my these are my March socks, and it is lovely yarn by Regina of Herbslat Regina, and it is called I think it's called Vanilla Cupcake. Yes, I'll put it up on the screen because it's in here, and if I take it out, I won't be able to put it back in. But so when I made this bag, I made a matching DPN, and it was just for myself. I just wanted to experiment, and I did make it, and I haven't had a chance to use this DPN holder since I made it. So this is a perfect opportunity. It's lined, and I like the lining material as well. It's just some material I got in my local fabric store. And here is what I have for the socks. This is all I've done for the March socks, because I was busy trying to finish my February socks and the Beaumont jumper and the other garment, the other Rocaine pullover, that I haven't had a lot of knitting time with my March socks. So hopefully I'll have these finished this month. But I have to say the yarn is very squishy. So I am knitting this pair on DPNs, and I wanted to try something different. I have knit socks on DPNs before. Before I got my Haya 40-inch for Magic Loop, I knit socks on DPN. Maybe I knit about 2 pairs, and that was it. So it's been a very long time since I've done that, and so I wanted to pick it up and do it again. It's been a while, so you know, I like to change things up once in a while. This is a lovely Progress Keeper from Ellie, again from Craft House Magic, and I love butterflies. These are 6-inch DPNs from Chiagu, I think it is. Yes, these are Chiagu 6-inch Chiagu premium stainless steel 6-inch DPNs, and that is 2.25 millimeters. And for those of you who like US sizes, I think it's size 1. So there it is. Yeah, and I like these DPNs. They're quite easy to work with. The only thing is that if I'm out and about, I would be afraid, just because I'm so used to doing the magic loop, that I might just drop one of these DPNs and it'll go flying or into somebody's face or something if I'm sitting and knitting on the train. So I have to be a little more mindful of the fact that I've switched over from interchangeables to, or from magic loop to DPNs while I'm knitting them. And yes, that is it. I don't have any acquisitions to share with you this time, but it's been a lot of fun knitting and just trying to catch up and finish all of the larger projects that I've started, and I am really looking forward to this KAL. I look forward to chatting with you again. I hope you have enjoyed your knit night with me, and I hope you got some knitting done or crocheting or whatever you were crafting on. I hope you have a very lovely week ahead of you, and thank you for your time. Thank you for joining me today, and hope to see you again soon. Happy knitting. Bye-bye.